Hi everyone. So I'm pretty sure everyone has heard a white person, whether friend, relatives, or coworkers, talk about, oh, the good old days, and we've all seen the hats and the posters about making America great again. For me, the thought of making America great again has always been Europeans or white people in America packing up their stuff and going back to Europe, leaving America definitely to be great again, to be less stressful, to be less hateful, less murders. It would truly make America great again if all these hateful, evil, disgusting white supremacist terrorists packed up all of their stuff, all their hate, all their discrimination, all their family members, and they really should be deported. They really should be deported back to Europe. There's plenty of different places in Europe they can choose to go, but they really should be deported back there. I don't understand why they are not. But anyways, it is what it is. So I was going to do this video this morning on this article because I did see it earlier, but then I saw that my sister did a video on white people's delusion, and so I wasn't going to do one, but this is a totally different article, and I think it's really important for us to see just evidence of their depravity. A lot of people don't believe the level of evilness and the depravity and the just sheer delusion, just delusional as far as you could possibly get to reality, that a lot of white people really are. And mostly these, I mean, to be a white supremacist, you have to be very, very delusional, because we all know there is no benefit to being white besides the social structure that they invented out of murder and every just depravity. When you steal people from another country, when you rape them, when you beat them, when you hang them from trees and set them on fire and kill their babies and rip them from their bodies, like, the depravity is, there is literally no words that I can say to describe the evilness that white supremacists have done in order to obtain this false supremacy. But there is no, even with their own scientists, they cannot even make up any scientific superior traits that they have, because they just genetically, there is no benefit to being white. There just isn't. You can go outside and sit in the sun for 10 minutes and that will tell you right there that there's no benefit to being white. There's none to having blonde hair. There is no benefit to having blue eyes. There's no benefit to having white skin. There's only only problems. Like, it's just mutations that are not good. It's so anyway, so I still just want to share part of this paper with you guys. I'm gonna try to do it. My brain is being a little slow, but just work with me on this one. Okay. It is always a good idea to be wary of those who wastefully long for the good old days, who yearn for simpler times, who traffic in whitewashed nostalgia. In America, that describes a sizable portion of our population. Okay. A new poll from the Public Religions Research Institute finds there are a few things you can count on about those who believe America's best days are behind us. They are overwhelmingly white. If you dig a bit deeper and examine the socioeconomic, often working class, and I'm just going to add that they're disgusting white supremacists, because I don't know any black person that thinks that, the best days are behind us. Despite all the evidence to the contrary, these stubbornly believe white people are subjected to the same level of racism as blacks and other people of color. If that's not just complete and utter fuckery, I'm sorry, excuse my language, I hate cussing, it sounds so horrible to me, but I don't know what else to call this. Like, seriously, they think the U.S. was a better place in the 1950s when Jim Crow was law, immigration was overwhelmingly European, women knew their place, and gay people were essentially invisible. So they're white supremacists. And this is what, like, you can try to argue this, right? White people will try to argue that white people aren't racist. We're not racist, except this little poll right here tells you the majority of white people are racist. They're white supremacist terrorists. Their mindset are white supremacist, racist pieces of garbage. That is their mindset, and they're telling you that. They're telling you that in their poll. In their minds, they're victims. In their minds, Jim Crow, the time of Jim Crow was best. And you know what the thing of this whole Jim Crow and civil rights, I was just watching just a little snippet. It was actually a cartoon. My sister was playing for my niece because she wanted to play some cartoons with black people, and it was just showing a little bit of the civil rights movement, and it was showing, KKK members riding around on their horses, setting fires to burning crosses and hanging and lynching up black people. And okay, we're not going to talk about how inappropriate the cartoon was, but how dare Martin Luther King say, let's be peaceful, while these demons are setting people's houses on fire and killing them? Like, not the time to be peaceful. Just, if there's any time to be violent, this is it. I don't get how them killing and hanging and turning fire holes and let's be peaceful. They just don't. It does not equate to me. I don't. And I regress. And let me just finish the article. In tandem with the findings of other recent studies revealing middle-aged, working-class white Americans are the only group in the country whose health and mortality rates are worsening. The survey offers more than just to look at the ideals and attitudes that characterize a slice of the population. It provides a possible diagnosis for what is and may very well be killing the entire demographic. And this is, so we're following, this is middle-aged, middle-class white people, white America. There have been previous indications, scientific, sociological, and anecdotal, of some of PRR's finding. A 2011 Tufts University survey showed white Americans believe they actually experience more racism than African Americans. And the Pew survey from the same year found non-college educated working class whites are the least hopeful group in the country about the future. The right-wing rally cries to make America great again, a recycled political slogan that is now the property of Donald Trump, that he stole from Ronald Reagan, because that was Ronald Reagan, who we all know is a racist, disgusting, white supremacist piece of garbage, just like Donald Trump. It is proof that a decent portion of white voters think America was at its best when fewer citizens had civil and political rights in some arbitrary point in the country's rich history of morally indefensible state-sanctioned unjust violence and oppression. So, majority of white people who aren't racist, because white people do not consider themselves racist, which I just, majority of these non-racist white people believe that when black people were being beat, hung from trees, drugged from the back of trucks, denied housing, denied the opportunity to have a job and home and food and school and education. Those were the good old days. Those were the days that we really wish we could go back to. Okay. One cannot avoid noticing that the current cultural wars full of incoming attacks from the right on nearly every civil and human rights gain of the last 60 years are being fought with renowned vulgar or by those who wants to turn back the hands of time. This is just disgusting. It speaks more on the evilness of white America right now. It's sad, it's disgusting, it's pitiful, it's delusional. So you have these white supremacists, right, that set up this delusional system of lies to tell themselves that they are just so superior and they're better than every other race. And now, they're realizing, wow, this was all a lie, and now you're trying to make us compete with other races to be, for the jobs and the education. Even though right now, as we speak, white supremacy reigns supreme over America. Okay, we live in a time and a day of white supremacist terrorism, and now we have a bunch of middle class victims. They're victims because you're making them work for their living. They don't get to just have all the jobs just because they're white, because they think they should have all the jobs. They should have all the jobs, all the entries to all the universities, all the rights. They should have everything, and it should be just given to them. And this is the thing that we need to realize. They want all of that. In order for them to have all of that, can they just have a white America? No, they couldn't have America just be white, because there will be no white supremacy. So they want to sit there and discriminate against you, but they want to keep you here, because I assure you, if black people and Mexicans and all the other brown race people decided that they wanted to pack up and leave this country, you would see a civil war, because there will be like so many walls being built that you wouldn't know what to do, because they will never let black people leave. You think that you're free, and and they want to go back to Africa. They love to say that. These white supremacists love to say go back to Africa. They will troll on these pages and say go back to Africa so much, but I promise you, let black people in large start even getting passports. Okay? Let you even try to get a passport in any high numbers, and you will see some walls being built. They always want to say, let's build a wall. Let black people try to get out of America. They'll show you some walls being built, because they're telling you right here, you can see in this survey, that white people don't want black people gone. They want black people to be their slaves again. That's what they want to go back to. So make no mistake about it, we are living in a white supremacist terrorist society. That's where we're at. That's where we live. And that is the mindset of these white people. And it's disgusting. And the more I learn and the more I see, I want to say it's devastating, but it gets in your mind, and it really just like, it's angersome, and I'm going to try to read a little more of this so we can just get on to this, because it's so frustrating. The 2015's American Values Survey reaffirms a myopic outlook of an astounding portion of the country. Researchers who polled the nearly 2,700 adults from every state in Washington, D.C., found that 43% of Americans overall believe racial bigotry against whites have become a problem, on par with the discrimination against Black people and other people of color. I think these people that they surveyed were white, because I don't know any Black person that will be like, yeah, I think white people are discriminated against the same as I am. Like, yeah, right. 53% of Americans think the country's way of life has mostly changed for the worse since the 1950s. And I think these are all white people that there has to be, because it wouldn't make any sense. They're not saying what races they were, but I'm pretty sure these people were were white. A tally, it seems safe to regard as a referendum on progressive changes since that decline. In general, it's clear that Americans believe some objectively offensive yeah, I think this is a survey of just white people, but this is super long, so I'm not going to read anymore because my brain is shutting down. It says it's done too much, but we see how super long this is. And if you guys want to go in here and read the rest of this survey, then be my guest. I will put it in the description box. But like, I just can't. And I just want to share with you guys this morning. I was gonna make a different video about this, but this morning I got pulled over by a state patrol officer. I saw him when I got on the freeway taking my son to school, and then like he was already, when you're getting on the freeway, he was already on the freeway. And so when I got over to get into the lane, he was one car behind me. So I ended up getting over another left to the left one more time, and he ended up being in front of me, and I ended up being behind him when I went to get off the freeway, which was just 2 exits over. I saw him get behind me and proceed to follow me as I exited the freeway. He followed me for about 2 blocks and then turned on his lights. So I was just about two or 3 blocks from my son's school, and I found the closest, safest parking spot to stop for the officer. He got out of his vehicle and came over to my window, and I asked, why am I being pulled over? He proceeded to tell me that he had his body camera was on, and so I was like, okay, whatever. And I handed him my license and registrations, and I asked, why was I being pulled over? And he said, oh, well, your tail lights are too dark. And I'm just like, okay. I was like, I've been driving this car for 4 years, and I've been pulled over, and no cop has told me that my tail lights were too dark, and it's daytime. And then he's like, okay, well, the film over them are too dark. And I can tell, like, clearly this dude's just making up stuff. Like, then he proceeds to say, well, when you got on the freeway, I saw you get on the freeway up there and you cut someone off. It's like, it's 8:30 in the morning. There's nothing but traffic. Okay, there's like cars everywhere, like almost to a stop on the freeway. It's impossible not to get over in front of someone. So I was just like, well, I didn't cut anyone off, but like, it's impossible to not get in front of someone. And then he's like, oh, okay, well, I'll be right back. And then he leaves for like 10 minutes, and then he comes back and he hands me my papers, and he's like, what's your address? And so I like told him my address, my updated address, and he's like, well, you'll be getting something in the mail. And it's just so freaking annoying. Like, white people will be like, oh, well, you don't deal with racism every day. Clearly, this cop pulled me over because he saw that I was black. That is the only reason he had for pulling me over. Like, I did nothing illegal. My tail lights are too dark. Like, give me a break. I've been driving the car for 4 years and have been pulled over for things that I actually did. Like, if a cop pulls me over and I know that I crossed like the medium or something, then I did something wrong. And obviously, sure, officer, this is what I did wrong. I'm not going to sit there and say I didn't. But clearly, if I didn't do anything wrong and the only reason why you're pulling me over is because I'm black, that is literally the only reason why. You saw that I was black when I passed you, and so you came and pulled me over. If he would have saw me cut someone off, he had plenty of room and opportunity to pull me over. He did not do that because I didn't cut. Like, everyone's at like a complete stop on the freeway. Give me a break, like, seriously. But anyways, it's frustrating that black people deal with racism and white supremacist terrorism on a daily basis. We deal with it on a daily basis. And how dare white people say that they're discriminated against? When? How? Like, how? None of these white people, even in this article, can explain how they're discriminated against, or why they're discriminated against, or by whom are they being discriminated against. So clearly, they're delusional. Like, there's no other words to. They're psychopathic, they're delusional, narcissistic. There's like so many psychological problems that are going on in the white supremacist head that, like, they would need like 1 trillion doctors. Like, I just can't. And the fact that we have to deal with this stuff every day, like, you would think that we would be serial killers at this point. Like, I seriously, I don't understand, like, how we're not the top terrorists and the top serial killers, because dealing with this racism and white supremacy is not a walk in the park, and it's not something that you joke about. And white people, you really need to just stop. Like, stop trying to play victim. Like, we don't want to be victims of your white supremacist terrorism. We don't. We want to be left alone. We want to be able to think about something else in our day besides the color of our skin. And we don't need you to sit there and say, oh, I don't see color, because that's just because you're a white supremacist, then you just don't need to see color. I mean, you don't see color so that you're not racist. Like, I just don't get it. Now I'm rambling and I'm really sorry. So anyways, so I'm gonna put this this link into the description box so that anyone that wants to read this entire very long article can do so. I do find that it really is a good article and it's very informative, so you guys should probably read it. And thank you guys for watching this video. Please please give me some likes, share these videos as much as you can, please, whether you share on Facebook, Twitter, or whatever. Just, we need to get these messages out there. We need to educate the Black community as much as we can. Sorry for my sucky reading. I've been in this headspace since I got pulled over today, just really stressed out. I don't like being around cops. I'm sure you guys can understand the sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach when you see the lights flashing behind you. I had my son in the car. You never know when you're going to get that disgusting white supremacist terrorist cop that can just shoot you at any moment, and you know that. And knowing that is psychologically really, like, it really messes with your brain, because for me, I'm just like, you know, they don't care if your kid's in the car. So yeah, I'm going to end this, and thank you.